Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar from Months to Weeks, Rapid Analytics Integration for Blazor Apps. You guessed it, today is going to be all about Blazor. We have a ton of interest in Blazor across all of the Infragistics products, especially Reveal as of late. Organizations are looking to digitally transform the experiences that they give to their users. So folks like you want to give a self-service, modern BI experience. And by the way, I say self-service. A lot of people don't even enable self-service. They just sort of do dashboards and they call it reports. And here's the new way that you're going to get all of these cool reports. They're easier to make. It handles all the security and they look stunning and beautiful. You'll see that today in the demo, but that's what we're seeing today in the market in terms of folks looking to modernize their .NET stack, their .NET applications, and Reveal plays a big part of that. Today, we're going to look at Reveal, just a quick overview. We're not going to spend a ton of time in the slides. We'll go over a few slides, but we're going to go right into some demos. And today, we're going to build out a Blazor server app. You're going to see it's like 10 lines of code, maybe 15 lines of code. I'm also going to show you some resources online where you can learn how to build a .NET Core app. All the code today is available online. If you want it, please send me an email, jasonb@infragistics.com, and I'll send you a link. Some housekeeping, you will get an email from marketing tomorrow with a link to watch the video or this webinar again and the slide deck so you can share it with your colleagues. Please ask questions in the questions window. I will attempt to answer them, or one of the other folks from the product team will try to answer during today's webinar. So what is Reveal? Reveal helps you accelerate insights with self-service embedded analytics. The idea is this is not a SaaS product. This is something that lives inside of your application as an SDK. If you're familiar with Infragistics, we've been selling developer tools for over 30 years now. This is our 35th anniversary, actually. And these are just components in your app. You can look at Reveal the same way. The only difference is with Reveal, you have a server piece and a client piece. So there's a JavaScript library on the client, and then there is a library on the server, a server package, which lights up all of the things that you need for data connectivity, authorization, authentication, etc. on the server. The nice thing about Reveal, because it is a library in your app, is there's a really rich API. You're not limited to how it looks, how it behaves. There's APIs for everything, just like you would expect for a developer tool. And we don't care about your stack. So JavaScript is the client. So Angular, Vue, Blazor, React, doesn't really matter, JavaScript. And on the server, we support .NET Core, we support Node, and we support Java. So based on the stack that you're using, Reveal will work within, pretty much there's nothing other than that. There is Python, and we don't have a Python server per se, but we have lots of customers that have Python, and then they just run Reveal in a Node or a .NET Core app kind of side by side, which is super easy to do because Reveal gives you all of the APIs to communicate with what's needed for the dashboard on the client and then your authentication on the server. So we make it easy to do that type of experience. So here's how Reveal looks. On the client side, there is something called the Reveal view. When we build out our Blazor app today, you're going to see that we are in JavaScript in Blazor creating an instance of that Reveal view, and then we're calling the server. In this case, it's the same application, so we don't need a separate URL, but we're loading a dashboard from that server experience. And then on the server side is really where you have your endpoints, you do your data access, your security. Today, the dashboards I'm going to be using are simple cloud-based data access through CSV, JSON, REST. So there's really no authentication that I'm going to do today, but I do have examples that I'm going to show you online of how you can implement that in your own application. So you'll have your client app and your server app today. Because we're going to do Blazor server, we're going to put them both in the same application, which means that in your Blazor server app, the external Reveal server is optional. So when you're building a Blazor app and I choose Blazor server, it could just be this monolithic thing that I deploy as the entire application. If I'm doing something like a React, Angular, or a Blazor WASM app, I have a client, and then that client is talking to a server somewhere. Like, what is my server endpoint? Today, we're not going to do that, but I'm going to show you if you did want to do a Blazor WASM app, there's one change that you would make in your Reveal code to point to that other server. And what you're doing there is you're saying, hey, go look over here for my dashboards, for my authentication, for my authorization, for all of the stuff that I want to make sure I'm getting from my server infrastructure. But Blazor server, it's all in a single app. So with that, let's jump right to a demo. You can see here that I'm going to be using Reveal BI SDK samples Blazor as a step-by-step for today's demo. But before we get into that, I want to show you a couple other resources. So let's jump over to the demo. The first thing I want to show you is the Reveal docs. I know we've talked about this in other webinars, but if you go to documentation, you go to web, you're going to see all of the getting started for the client and the server. The server usually is something that requires more work because there's a little bit more code to write there. But at the end of the day, you want to do a get started. These are all step-by-steps. And then, of course, all of the other samples that we have are in each one of the documentation. So definitely take a look at all of the docs to learn Reveal. We also have the developer playground. The developer playground is neat because you can see the sample code, you can modify it, and then you'll note how it changes in the dashboard below. For example, if I go to my theming samples, this is showing you the mountain dark theme. If I want to change this to the mountain light theme, I can just say light, and I can run this, and now it changes. And you can add any JavaScript from the client side that you want here, and it will reflect in the dashboard below. The developer playground is really important. The second thing is YouTube. So we have a ton of videos on YouTube. You can see here like previous webinars, but the important thing I want you to see today is this playlist, and it's my .NET Core and SQL Server track. So this has setting up a .NET Core server, configuring SQL Server with .NET Core, leveraging stored procedures with parameters, configuring row-level security with user context, which is a Reveal feature with your .NET backend and SQL Server. So definitely watch these videos. All told, it's about 42 minutes of content that really sets you up on how to get going with Reveal in your applications. And then finally, Reveal has a ton of samples at github.com, Reveal BI. We'll scroll down here and we will see SDK samples Blazor. And this is my step-by-step, which we're going to go through today to see how to create the Blazor app. So super easy to do that. So let's get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new instance of Visual Studio. Of course, it opened up on my other screen. Let's go ahead and create a new project. I want to type in Blazor, and what we're going to do is a Blazor server app. Let's click Next, and we'll call this Blazor App 1 Reveal, and let's click Next. And we can do .NET 6. That's weird. I guess I don't have .NET 8 installed. Let's go ahead and create this guy here. And this is my basic application. So what I'm going to do now is just build out the basic, the most simple application that you can with Reveal. And you'll see that it's literally 8 or 9 steps to get going. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to right click on my application and go to Manage NuGet Packages. I'm going to go to Browse, and I need to install the Reveal SDK package. Remember, this is a Blazor server app, so everything's going to be running inside of this application. I've got Reveal SDK ASP.NET Core. Make sure you select the latest version, and I will click Install. Now, this is installing in my app, accept all my defaults. Good to go there. Step 2, let's go to Program CS. In Program CS, I need to tell this application to actually use Blazor. And you do that through the builder. In my case, I'm going to say builder.services, got to spell it right, builder.services.add-controllers. And what do I want to add? I want to add reveal. Now I have added reveal to my application. Really, there's nothing more for me to do to let my application know that I'm using this new package. If we go to our dependencies, we go to our packages, there's my reveal package, reveal SDK ASP.NET Core. This happens to be the current version. You might be watching this later. It might be version 2, 2.53. Either way, just add your reveal dependency. Reveal does use controllers internally. What I need to do is tell my application that I want it to use the controller endpoints that are inside of the SDK. This is a reveal specific need. You don't need to do it for your usual MVC applications or your Blazor server apps, but for reveal, this is required. Now, in the documentation that I have online, there are a couple other notes in there. For example, if you are using a .NET 8 template, there's a couple modifications there. Also, if you have not installed Reveal with the license key yet, there is some license key code that you might want to look at, but all that is in the docs and in the online sample. This is all I need for getting my sample going, because one of the features of Reveal is that you can have your license key in your home directory, and it's going to look to that home directory to make sure that the Reveal server can start. The message, though, is you do need a license either for production or trial to make Reveal work. Well, the next thing I want to do is, because we are just building a sample here, I have those sample dashboards that I mentioned earlier. I'm going to add the dashboards folder in the root of my Reveal application, not in my WW root. Remember, this is going to happen on the server. I'm going to go ahead, add existing items. Let's go to my desktop. And in my desktop, I'm going to go to sample dashboards. Again, all of this is in the sample in GitHub. So there's a link to download these sample dashboards and you get going. What we're going to do is we're going to be able to load and edit these individual dashboards. The way that Reveal works is the dashboards folder is the default for load and save. You don't have to write any additional code to make something like that happen. The next thing that we need to do is let our application know that we are using this Reveal JavaScript library. Since this is a Blazor server app, your index.html is really called _layout.cshtml. You can see here I've got my CSS links and some other things. What I want to do here is I want to add in my Reveal requirements. There are 3 JavaScript dependencies: jQuery, 3.6, Day.js, 1.8.21. The Reveal version in the documentation I have on GitHub is 1.6.1. We are all the way up to 1.6.7 now. So these are my 3 core dependencies that are required to get this going. And then finally, I need to create this revealview.js file, which is how I'm going to interact with this JavaScript library. When you download the SDK, and it's really not downloading anything but the README with instructions, you also have a pointer to the latest JavaScript and latest TypeScript files that you can add to your application. What I want to do now is go to my WW root, add, let's do a new folder. We're going to call it JS. In the JS folder, let's add a new item, and my new item is going to be a JavaScript file, and we're going to name this revealview.js. Real simple here so we don't forget, revealview.js. And if we go back to our layout CSHTML, that's what we're going to point to here. In our revealview.js, what do we actually need to do? This is a little unique because if we're building an Angular application, I have my TypeScript file in my HTML. And my TypeScript file basically has everything that I need. Because this is Blazor and there's this interop between the client and the server, I need to have some JavaScript code that's actually going to interact with my JavaScript library, which is in our CDN, and then I'm going to need some server-based code. The first thing that I want to add is a function called load reveal view. What is load reveal view going to do? It's going to take in the view ID, which is essentially going to be a div in my page. We're going to do something here with, for example, index.razor, and then I'm going to tell it what dashboard to load. So very simple. I call the rv dashboard.load dashboard function, pass it the dashboard name, and that's going to load in my page. That's all I need to do to get going. The only difference is if you were doing a Blazor WASM app, is you would need to use something called the reveal SDK settings, set base URL, and tell it where your server was at. So it might be at, revealbi.reporting.com, and there might be some server hosted up there. But for our case here, super easy to just load this dashboard, and you'll see here, just pass me the dashboard name. So how are we going to load this dashboard? Let's go to index.razor. On this page, we're going to get rid of all of this stuff. We can change the page title. Instead of index, let's call it Hello, Reveal, and Blazor. And let's go ahead and add the requirements here for loading up something from JavaScript. So when you are building out Blazor applications, you usually are aware that you have to inject what? You have to inject the IJS runtime, and that IJS runtime is how you communicate between your application and the JavaScript library that maybe has some code that you need to execute. So we're just going to add that inject ISJ runtime, and then, that will help us do that level of communication. The next thing that I want to do on my page is have a drop-down list of dashboards. So we could go ahead and write some code to pull in what's in the dashboards folder. I'm going to cheat, and what I'm going to do is just add a simple HTML select, and my HTML select is just going to list out campaigns, manufacturing, marketing, and sales, which happen to be those dashboards that I added. We need to add selected dashboard change. We're going to do that in a minute. First, we want to just add a little separator here, and then we're going to add the div, which will load up that reveal view. Let me hit enter a couple times, and now let's add in this div. Reveal is going to load a dashboard from the server. Where is it going to load it? Into this div. And that's the beauty of this. It's not an iframe. It doesn't feel like it's bolted on. It's just part of your application. It makes it really seamless to your users, and it also gives you a nice responsive view. When you resize your screen, everything resizes as it should. Now let's go ahead, and add our code block. And here's where we're going to add the function to load our reveal dashboard. What I want to do is when the page initially loads, I want to use the on-after render in Blazor to load up the campaigns dashboard by default. If this was like my production-ready app, I would say, hey, what's the selected item? Or maybe I would have something in my combo that says select dashboard, but for this demo, this will work perfect. If the first time the page renders, what do I want to do? Use my JS runtime, invoke void async to call into the load reveal view function. Of course, here's the load reveal view function, sort of just waiting for us to do something with it. And I'm going to pass it in the ID of my reveal view and the dashboard that I want to load. Let's go ahead and save that. I'm going to hit run. And of course, yes, we do have an error because I don't have that selected dashboard change yet. Well, why don't we get rid of that right now and do a Control X, hit save. Let's run this again. And what we're going to see is that our campaigns dashboard is loaded in our Blazor application. This opened up here on my other screen. Let's slide this over. And there is campaigns. That was the dashboard that we wanted to load. It loaded up perfectly. Hit refresh. Campaigns loads nicely. Now, what do you get with Reveal? So if I go to my overflow, I can jump into edit mode. Here I have full editing with the client library. Let's say I want to edit this guy. I'm now in the visualization editor. On the left-hand side, you can see my schema. On the right-hand side, I've got my label, values, categories, etc. Let's say, for example, I want to do something a little bit different. I can pick any one of the many 30 plus chart types in Reveal. Let's do a tree map. And I don't want to do this by month and day. Let's do this by territory and campaign ID. So what are my conversions by territory and campaign ID? Simple drag and drop. That's as easy as it is. This is using the trailing 12 months. We have a bunch of built-in date-time filters here, as well as different types of filters you can do. Like here I have a campaign filter. There's also a bunch of settings so you can change things about the visualization. If I click on conversions, maybe I want to do something like count or average or standard deviation. I can change whatever I want in terms of these properties. But I'm just going to hit the checkbox, and I'm going to scroll down a bit here. Maybe we could make this a little bit bigger. Looks nicer. Maybe we'll make this guy a little bit bigger so it looks a little nicer. I'll check the box, and now because we have a default load and save, this automatically saved to my server. So now if I hit refresh, there's my new visualizations, resized, etc. Where did it save? Well, if we go back to Visual Studio here, we go back to our Blazor app, it's saved right back to this dashboards folder. So it updated the campaigns dashboard. Some other nice things here is I can expand this individual visualization. You'll see here I've got a nice tooltip. I can do things like statistical functions, time series, linear regressions, outlier detection. I can change the visualization type, maybe look at the underlying data, for example, basically customize this however I'd like from a viewer perspective. And then in my overflow here, let's say I want to export an image because I want to annotate it and send it off. I can do that. Let's just do a circle here, maybe an arrow, and we'll add some text. Great work. And I'll save this, copy it to the clipboard, and now paste it into an email, send it off to my team, whatever I want to do. Let's say I want this guy in Excel. Let's just click Export to Excel, and here's my Excel file. The first tab has the filters for this specific export, and then the second tab has the table data, and then an Excel chart, a native Excel chart of my data. So nice delighter there for your users. Let's minimize this, close that out, collapse this guy. Let's say I want to do an export to PDF of this entire dashboard. I can select PDF. What this is doing is actually taking a screenshot of each visualization. I can add like a new title, a description. I can do the same annotation stuff that I did before. Now, if I just want to export this to PDF, I can click this guy and you can see I've got my pixel perfect representation of each visualization that I now can go do whatever I want with. Export to PowerPoint basically does the exact same thing. So you have some really nice features here in terms of what you can do with Reveal, even features like drill down, drill up. Here I can filter this by just the diamond campaign and it'll update my dashboard. All of these capabilities are for free. You don't have to do any extra code to make that happen. For the last part of this demo, why don't we just go ahead and wire up our selection changed here. I'll minimize this guy. Let's go back to our application. Whoops, let's go back to the correct application, which is our Reveal app here. I want to put my Control Z here to stick our selection dashboard changed back in. Let me hit enter a couple times and let's add selected dashboard changed. I'm doing the same thing. The only difference is I am passing in whatever value happens to be selected here, and that's all we're going to do. Let's do a hot reload, and we will bring our sample back up. It says it reloaded nicely. Let's do a refresh. Let's change to a different dashboard. There's manufacturing, there's marketing, and there's sales. So they all look stunning. They all look beautiful. Maybe for sales, I want to do something different here. Let's go ahead and edit this. I want to add another visualization to this guy, and I want to modify sales. So let's go and edit this one particular visualization. I'm going to uncheck Show Legend, so you can see here, Show Legend is unchecked. You can see all the other properties that I have. I want to go back to my data. This is looking at the sum of pipeline across my team. What I want to do is drag pipeline down to the data filters, and I want to do above 800K. Let's type in 800, 1, 2, 3. I only want to show people that are above 800,000 in this particular chart. And so I can make my chart, customize a little bit, and I don't like the blue. Let's go ahead and change it to orange. I'm going to check this box. And now what I want to do is add another visualization. I've updated this guy. I want to duplicate the sales one, and I want to make a nice long visualization. I'm going to edit this again. On the left-hand side, I have a lot of different fields I could use here. I'm going to get rid of that filter. I'm going to get rid of pipeline. I want to do employee. Actually, I want to do by territory, but then for my drill down, I also want to do employee, and I want to do the forecasted revenue by employee, and we can zoom this all the way in like that. So this is going to be by country or by territory, and then by employee. You'll notice here, these are very large numbers on the bottom. So I'm going to select forecasted, and I'm going to change this to large number formatting and update this field. And you can see here that it looks a little bit nicer. I'm going to check this box, and there we go. I have my new visualization, and we did make one mistake. Let's change the title to forecasts by employee. And actually, it's by region / employee. So we'll check this box. I'll save this. So now I have my new visualization. So you see I can just scroll for as long as I want. And now I have this drill down, which will give me the employee by that particular region and all of their data. I can use the breadcrumb to go back up. So here, if I go to Americas, I can drill down and I can see all of the salespeople for Americas. So pretty slick, very easy to edit, add, export, etc. Adding this to our application took almost, 10 lines of code total. That includes stuff that had nothing to do with Reveal. And while we're here, you're probably looking at this visualization or dashboard saying, that looks a little funky. So let's go ahead and fix this one really quick. This guy here has some overlapping data. I'm going to click edit on this, and this is what it would look like maximized. But one of the things that you can do is I can hide those data labels, which will make it look nicer when it's really scrunched down. The other thing that we do is in a responsive layout, the more the visualization shrinks, we auto remove those labels as well. So now I can see my data looks a little bit better. These guys here, these are looking at a date filter. I want to get rid of that date filter. And this just looks absolutely awful because it's by day. I'm going to remove day, but I still want to do this by date. And you can see what we do in Reveal is we try to determine based on the date, the available data to us. So I can just drag year up here if I'd like, or if I want to do month, it'll give me every month like this, but I really like year. Let's just have this as year, and let's change this to a column chart. Looks a lot better. I can also get rid of the legend, check my box, so this is looking better. For units produced by line, what I really want to do here is I want to show this in a different type of visualization. Let's make this a donut chart. Now you can see I have all of my lines and then my total of units produced and then the percentage of each. What I can also do is for my labels, I can do value and percentage so I can see exactly what those numbers are for my units produced by line. And then operators available by function. This also has a donut chart. I have a date filter. I'm going to remove that date filter. Let's again change this to value and percentage. So just like that, I updated this dashboard all myself. I didn't have to go to IT. I didn't have to have someone else do it. And now I've got exactly what I want to look at for my manufacturing dashboard. So that is how easy it is to get going with Blazor. Super simple. What I want to highlight is another sample that I worked on, just so you're aware. If you want the code to this, shoot me an email. I will send you a link. But what this does is something a little bit different. I've got a Blazor app here. I've got like a homepage view. This is what we call single visualization mode in Blazor. What this is doing is loading one visualization that is part of a bigger dashboard, and I'm using it amongst all these other UI pieces of my application. So it's really straightforward to do this, super easy, but single visualization mode lets you just have that one dashboard in that one location on your screen. And then this is Blazor code. This is Blazor code, nothing to do with Reveal, but it does give you a nice UI. If I go over to my dashboards list, this is using a really cool feature to get the dashboard thumbnail out of your dashboards on the server. So my server has a bunch of different dashboards. You can see analysis, banking, campaigns, crypto, etc. And these are actual thumbnails of those dashboards. And what I did here is I loaded everything into card views. Now when I click show, it expands out the dashboard. Now this particular dashboard has some other features that you should be aware of. You'll notice here I have a filter across the top, but I also have an X on it. I'm going to click the X, and that removed that filter, so now my dashboard is all of my data. But you'll notice as I hover over my grid, I have things like filter options and drill down options. So let's say I want to filter by a Gimba. I just do that right from the tooltip, and now all of these visualizations changed based on this filter. I can do that on other visualizations as well. Notice here on my shipment status, I want to filter by the closed status. Now it updated all of the other visualizations for the folks that are closed. So having this interactive toolbar that allows you to do drill down, drill up, filtering, etc. is really slick, really powerful, and gives your users that one level of extra analysis. And in this track and stuff demo, you'll also notice the theme is different. In our Blazor app, we had our standard like bluish, greenish theme. This is using a custom theme based on my application. I wanted to look a little bit different. And yes, it's using something that more closely matches my brand. If I want to add a new dashboard, I added a new dashboard button. Now I'm in the visualization editor. I can click plus visualization, select my data source, and then I am jumping right into that same visualization editor where I can just WYSIWYG my way here to a new dashboard. So if I scroll down here, let's look at salary, the salary of people by car model. This is a massive data set, actually. I don't like using car model. It doesn't work very well. How about title? A little bit different. Doctor, honorable, Mr., the sum of salary. So how about just looking at the average salary by title? Your average doctor is at $145,000 and your average Mrs. is at $151,000. Now, if I want to change this to currency, it'll look a little bit better. Now we have $120,000. I can change this to salary by title and the same deal. Let's get rid of our legend. I check this box, and now here I am on my way to creating a new dashboard. So adding new dashboard, super easy. And then in this sample, it's very similar to what we just did in our end-to-end Blazor app. As I have a drop-down, I select the dashboard, and it loads up. And of course, I have all the other features here as well. So I wanted to highlight that with Reveal, you can go way deeper than just that simple Blazor example, which was like 8 or 10 steps, 10 lines of code, whatever it happened to be. Super easy to get that going. But at the end of the day, for you to look at digital transformation in your applications when you are building for Blazor and .NET, it is just a few steps away, and you can really wow your customers and give them a great experience. With that, let's jump back over to the slides, and we will wrap this up. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that demo. It was short and sweet because it's not hard to integrate Blazor into your application. And you saw my step-by-step. It was very simple and very straightforward. Yes, there was a much more advanced application as well in our Track and Stuff app, but that I built with our App Builder product. So I did all of the UI in App Builder, and then I just sprinkled a little bit of Reveal on top. So it was super easy to do that. And as you can see, it is poll time, so please answer the poll that popped up. Your feedback is important to us. It's how we drive features into the product. It's how we know where you're at, maybe in your digital transformation and what you're doing with your products at your organization. So your feedback is really important to us. So with that, I do want to thank everyone for joining us today. Again, go to revealbi.io to learn more about Reveal. I showed you where to find our Blazor sample right online that we went through today, where to get the sample dashboards. You saw where you can get videos on YouTube, specifically for .NET. I have a lot of really good .NET videos there that will help you learn. If you watch those videos, it pretty much answers all the questions you need to know about implementing a Reveal server in your .NET Core application. So I'm a .NET guy forever, so that's something I probably have more on that than Node or other things, but hopefully you watch those videos, you can implement your own server, and then with this step-by-step in Blazor, maybe set up a Blazor WASM app just to get your feet wet with Reveal and self-service embedded BI. So contact us today at sales@revealbi.io, or of course, just send me an email, jasonb@infragistics.com. If you want to get a deeper dive demo, you want to learn more about Reveal, whatever, please get a hold of us and we will help you get started in your digital transformation with Reveal. Self-service analytics is the name of the game today. BI, everyone wants it. Reveal helps you do that pretty easy. I want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. We do appreciate your time. I know there's a lot of polls on your time, and we will see you at the next webinar in about 3 or 4 weeks. So thanks again, everyone. Have a good week.